Former Deputy Hill, Bob Hill, the terms of reference for the Committee of Inquiry into the decades of child abuse that was allowed to go on in Jersey, the Council of Ministers have now submitted their suggested terms of reference. You're not that impressed with them, are you?
No, but I'm pleased actually we're going to have a committee inquiry. I think that's a positive, although it's taken 2 years. At least we're going to have something, and what we've got to do is make sure that what we've got is going to do the job we're asking it to do. And we must start off with two things. One, selecting the right body to do it, and I think they've made the right moves so far to get an independent body. Then we've got to look at the terms of reference. It's the terms of reference I'm concerned with. 3 weeks ago, P118 was lodged. We've had an opportunity now to compare it with what Verita was suggesting and also what William's suggesting. However, what we have two particularly important aspects from the Verita suggested or recommended terms of reference are omitted from P1118.
Well, the way it was sold to us was basically basically he's gone with Verita. Ian Gorst has basically told the people that he's going with Verita. What do you mean? Can you?
Well, as always, one has to look at the devil is in the detail. Look at what Verita has said, look with what Ian Gorst has said under his P118, and there are two particular recommendations missing from what recommended by Verita, but they're not included in P118, the Council of Ministers proposition.
And which two are these, and why do you think they
I
might
do
be
particularly have them here just to ensure that our viewers know exactly what they are. But what it says that one was to determine whether the concerns in 207 were sufficient to justify the state's police setting up in train Operation Rectangle. In other words,
this is in
Verita's terms of reference, and what they're saying really is, I think what Verita is saying that was everything that followed after it was made clear that obviously something had happened, was everything in order following that. I think it's very important, and obviously Verita thought it was very important in terms of reference. And the other one was to review what actions the government took when concerns came to light in 208, and what, if any, lessons there are to be learned. So what Verita is saying is that, was it right that the police actually got the investigation up and running? And if it was, did the police carry out the investigation in an appropriate manner? And very importantly, how did the government react? What the terms of reference are saying is that how did health and how did education act prior to 207?
This is what the Verita are asking.
No, what the Council of Ministers are asking is how did the education and health committees deal with the situation prior to 207? Well, of course, we'd hope that would be a matter of course anyway. Very important, I think, and indeed Verita saying that one should look at the whole picture. And if we want to be honest and open about things, I think we ought to be looking at the whole picture. Verita is saying it, why aren't the Council of Ministers saying it?
Well, that is the question. So what we're looking at here is there is obviously a culture of concealment and cover-up for the bare fact that decades of child abuse could go on for decades.
Well, we'd hope it wouldn't. I would hope now that we've had Williamson in train, we've had the police now obviously having to change the systems. I think that's good. That's one of the positives come out of it. However, what we want to be looking at is, in fact, how was the investigation, because bearing in mind that was very heavily criticised the way in which Lenny Harper and co carried out the investigations. Was it necessary for the dig, etc., about all the fines, was it the coconut, wasn't the coconut? I think it's very important that the public get an opportunity, and indeed the police also have an opportunity to put their case to the Committee of Inquiry so the public know how the investigation was handled. And very importantly also is who really was in charge politically.
Well, I suppose we're getting back to Operation Rectangle, for instance, why Verita thinks it needs to be looked at and questioned is because we've got to remember Mick Gradwell, who took over from Lenny Harper as a senior investigating officer, now stands accused of leaking information to journalists with a history of supporting convicted paedophiles. This is whilst the child abuse investigation was ongoing. Mick Gradwell told us that there were no cellars up at Hotel Le Garin, where you yourself and myself on the camera showed that to be a complete and utter, I don't know if we can say the word lie, but it's something similar to one if it's not. So surely not only the Operation Rectangle under the supervision of Lenny Harper and Graham Powell, even more so, it should be looked at under the supervision of Mick Gradwell and David Walkup, because surely there's more questions to be asked there.
Yes, bear in mind that it didn't, Operation Rectangle rang on to about the end of 2010 when we had the announcement in the States, and I think Lenny Harper packed up August time. So it ran on for another year, 18 months. So I think it's important. And of course, one of the questions we've got to bring in really was it necessary to suspend Graham Powell? The whole issue, and I think those 3 points are very valid. And I think the only way they will come out is if indeed the recommendations that Verita have made in their report are also included in the terms of reference. And those who've read my blog will know that I'm suggesting actually that those amendments are included in as amendments to P118 and are lodged in time for the debate beginning or the first sitting in January.
But what does it say about our Chief Minister, well, our alleged Chief Minister, Ian Gorst, and the Council of Ministers? Surely they should be bringing, if we just go to the Leveson, for instance, you've got David Miliband and Nick Clegg and everything saying, let's take Leveson hook, line and sinker. Let's take the whole lot, all on one board. Isn't it a shame? You know, what does it say about our Council of Ministers if their terms of reference need amending in the first place? Why shouldn't they be saying, look, let's look at everything. Let's keep, let's be open. What do you think it says?
It doesn't say a lot for them. What is so sad about it is they've been kicked and streaming to having a committee of inquiry, and then now they have an opportunity for a new culture, and that's why I'm disappointed in Ian Gorst as our Chief Minister. And again, from his background, one would have hoped that he would have been strong enough and say, look, we've paid Verita a lot of money. We paid Williamson a lot of money, taxpayers' money.
What the hell we paid Williamson for is anybody's guess.
Well, I agree, but at the same time, that was a way, again, for delaying everything. And what we now have an opportunity, let's go with Verita, because Verita has taken the trouble, and people have come forward and made these suggestions to him. He's taken them on board, drafted up what he considers to be what the public out there are thinking, drafted them as recommendations, and now they're being turned aside by the Council of Ministers. Totally unsatisfactory. We have an opportunity to come clean. I use the expression, most people want the matter put to bed. I want to, but I think everyone wants to. But what we have now is another situation where we're pushing things under the bed. And if only we can be open. And it's very important that if those amendments are lodged, and I'm hoping states members will, at least probably it'll be down to the normal, those who've got the courage to do so. So we're probably looking at people like Monty Tadea or Trevor Pittman maybe, but they will be having to lodge that. But what, very importantly, it's been an opportunity for the new states members in particular to have the courage of their conviction and say, look, enough is enough. There's been so much going on when they weren't in office. Now they have an opportunity of voting in support of those amendments to say, okay, we want a clean view of it. Let's draw a line after the inquiry. But the inquiry's got to be full and open.
Why are the Jersey Police, under the leadership of Mike Beauron, doing nothing that we can see to encourage Savile victims or any other abuse victims to come forward? Why do you think such a low profile?
I don't know why they're not doing it. It's a shame they're not being much more positive about it. There's two aspects we could be positive about it. One, the police chief actually making a public statement saying, look, we welcome anybody that has any concerns regarding Savile, or anybody else for that matter, to come forward to us, because we're all open ears. There's a major investigation going via the Metropolitan Police. Here's our opportunity to be part of the big picture. And secondly, I think it will be an opportunity also for the Minister, Senator Muckle, to make a statement in the States of saying, look, there are certain allegations going on about it. I appeal to those people in Jersey, if they have any concerns, please come forward, because their matters will be dealt with in confidence and assured that the matter will be investigated.
Well, that would be great to see happen, but I suppose my question is why hasn't it happened? Why, in your opinion, hasn't it happened? Why are they so quiet?
Is it the lack of leadership? or is it a lack of confidence, or do they know something that we shouldn't be told? And I would be sorry if that was the issue. I would hope possibly that they will take the initiative. And I don't know again what discussions going on with the Metropolitan Police, but I would have thought it was in the Metropolitan Police's interest, as indeed is our interest, is if there are people out there who've got something to tell, please come forward to tell. And if necessary, we need not have to wait for the Chief Minister, we need not wait for the police chief. Just go to the police and make it. But I would rather it came from the police chief, as if they're running it, the chief minister, or not chief minister, the Minister of Home Affairs. We're in charge, we're looking at it seriously. Please come forward.
Well, I seen Deputy Chief Officer Barry Taylor yesterday, and I asked him this question: why aren't you doing anything high profile, encouraging alleged victims to come forward, you know, whether it be Savile or anyone else? And Deputy Chief Officer Barry Taylor told me that, well, this is Operation Yewtree, this is a Metropolitan Police run thing, and they're sort of following the lead of them. Of the Metropolitan, the Jersey Police are sort of being, it came across as if the Jersey Police are being told what to do by the Metropolitan Police.
I wouldn't have thought they were being told, but what I would have thought the Metropolitan Police were saying, we've got this major investigation going. Savile was seen to be in Jersey. You had 1 or 2 allegations made, I gather, when Lenny Harper was running it, but there was insufficient evidence, and I fully understand that, because quite often people do say things and they're a bit unsure really whether to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, or else they're afraid themselves that no one will believe them. And that's what's happened, that culture of cover-up within the BBC. People were aware of what's going on. We'll almost go back to Victoria College. Everyone was aware of a certain teacher doing things, and yet it was allowed to almost be a joke.
I suppose what I want to end on here is with the absolutely low profile of the police under Mike Boron, you know, not encouraging victims to come forward. Now we've got Ian Gorst, our Chief Minister, bringing his version of the Verita terms of reference. It's difficult to see how the Jersey culture of concealment, secrecy and paedophilia has changed.
That would give the impression, I would hope that we're both wrong, I would hope they're actually working very hard somewhere along the line, but we have no vision, we have no sight of it yet. And again, if what you say, there's been no evidence yet to show us that we are really turned the page over and we're looking forward to deal with things in a factual manner.